Hey, listeners, welcome to Baggage Claim. I'm your host, Lauren Osborne. And as you know, on this podcast, it's the spot where everyone has baggage. We just explore the contents that are in the luggage and then pick what souvenirs we want to keep and what baggage we want to check in. On today's episode, I have a super special guest. It's my brother, Eric, and we get to talk a little bit about our journeys, honestly. It's been a while since we chatted, so it was a lot like catching up. We talk about today's current events and pop culture as well. We talk about Eric's journey, his grief journey, his Britney journey, his love journey, his life journey. This is a 2-part episode, so I really hope you enjoy part 1. Hey, listeners, welcome to Baggage Claim. I'm your host, Lauren Osborne. And as we know on this podcast, it is a spot where we can bring all types of baggage. We like to take a look at the contents of them. And each episode, we decide what baggage we want to check in and what souvenirs we want to keep. The goal of each episode is to feel a little lighter after each one ends. So I have a very, very, very special guest. And we kind of like related or whatever. It's weird, but I have a special guest. It's my brother. It's Eric Johnson. Hi, Eric.
Hey, how are you?
I'm excited to be doing this. I feel like it's going to be a fun episode, and we should have a good time.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm super stoked about doing this. Like I said, I've been listening. I've been a fan and following, and
Thank you, by the way.
I love the concept, and I feel like it's a place where honestly, like no matter what you're going through, you bring in baggage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and sometimes you really do need to look at it, and whenever you can look at yourself and like
Yes.
and really pick it apart and say, you know what, this is no longer me. I'm down for, because
Yeah.
internal growth is always just like, that's my whole thing. Like always ever grow.
And growth and change and baggage, it's universal. Let's be real.
Basically,
It's all inclusive. It's all inclusive. It's universal. It's for everyone. And sometimes it's a good feeling. Sometimes it's like light baggage, like carry on, or just like, I don't even need a bag. I'm going to buy everything when I get there. Right. But oftentimes you pack some shit with you and you have to take it. So thank you so much for joining. Well, let's get into like the icebreakers. Well, first one is we just got passed through the holiday. I usually try to skip, but always go for like breaking news, the things that are happening right now. Currently, today is Friday. It is day 1 of the 4-day pause in the war against Palestine, because I'm not calling it anything else. And it's not a war. There are not soldiers on both sides. So do your part, you guys. Everyone has a voice. Everyone has a place. Even if you don't, I'm sorry. We're at like day 47. You should have your information. We've talked about it numerous episodes. I want to ask you to dig a little deeper. I'm going to ask you to look at the bigger picture. I want to ask you to, especially if you're from the States, and it's usually like, what about me? What about me? What about me? What about you? What is this going to look like for us in a little bit? And take some pause, use some caution, use your brain and research, then do what you think is best. If you happen to be where I am as well, which is all for the liberation of all, we cannot be free until we're all free. No one is free until we're all free. For me, that definitely stands in Palestinian liberation. One way to show your support is by boycotting. Put it where it counts. 3 places. If you're like, how do I boycott? I'd recommend the following places: Starbucks, Walmart, McDonald's. If it's a streaming thing, got to drop your Disney Plus. If you have questions, or concerns, please go to my website, checkyourbags.com, and you can leave it in a comment or leave a message. And I'll also have a list of all of these resources for you in the notes. Sorry to go on a tangent, but as always, we're living in a genocide. We're watching it in real time, and we're going to take the time to talk about it. And other news, which there will be, I'm doing a mini series. I can't wait for y'all to listen to it. It's called Diddy's Dirty Bags, because in the world of pop culture, it was the statute of limitations for sexual assault, misconduct, and harassment cases to be filed in the state of New York. I think a lot of people have taken the lead of Cassandra Ventura, also known as Cassie, and we're watching this in real time. If people are giving, if you're seeing a lot of stories right now of people accused of different things, I've seen a housewife husband. I saw Jamie Foxx was accused. I saw Diddy has been accused 2 more times. Please don't all think, this is a money grab. We've got to believe victims. We've got to have an open mind. And we've also got to consider that today, the 24th, is the final day for them to take this to court. So if they decided to do it, it may be coming from courage and just be a human being. And also on the topic regarding the whole Cassie and Diddy, which it's so intense I'm not getting into. I will say that please be cautious and cognizant and compassionate about what you're saying. You may believe, you may disbelieve, all of those things, but we also know that very rampant and very common. So please consider that some of these comments and the things that you're saying, that your friends may be seeing you or hearing you saying these types of things a little flippant. I think that it could lead to a person, God forbid that something did happen, you would not be a safe space based on what you're giving. So again, lead with compassion in regarding that topic. Anything else on pop culture that I'm missing for like this past week? November's been a motherfucker. So
listen, Tiffany Haddish, DUI.
Oh my God, new. That was today.
That was
right?
Baby. I love her, and she just got out of the scandal, and she just got her jobs back. Listen, we all have. I'll speak for myself. Sometimes you get through one thing just to find out you got to go through another thing, and I just wish the best for her. You know,
it's unfortunate. I wish that had not happened. I feel like Uber. Then driving drunk, that's one of the comments I'll make on it. And although she did get through that most recent scandal, it really sketched me out. And I have not been able to look at her the same or watch her films because I did watch it and I didn't like it. So Tiffany, I'm gonna wish you the best, and I hope the best for you. There.
Yeah. That's fair.
Okay.
Fair.
You know.
Yeah,
for me now, I don't know if it's just like the wound of just like seeing things and understanding things and recognizing that like my rose-colored glasses they just aren't there anymore. They don't exist. They don't fit on my face. And I am having a hard time, especially with, things with children and just like abuse. I'm not sticking beside it. And I also know the spin machine is the spin machine. The fixers are the fixers. But I also saw that tape, Tiffany, and I just have a lot of questions.
You just didn't think it was funny. Listen, comedy is one of those things. Okay, I am a person that, like, recently I've been doing, like, going to this comedy teaching thing, like, because I kind of want to do stand-up, right?
Love that. You'd be great.
But I'm like, I get so fearful in front of people, so it's so weird. But I know that I'm funny, right? Like, and I know that, like, I can write a joke, right? And sometimes I can go very dark, and you have to be able to be like, capable. So I've been recently doing some comedy lessons or classes and to do stand up, and it makes me so nervous, like, to do it in front of people. But I know I can write a joke. I know I can. I know that I'm funny, right? And I can go really dark sometimes. And I feel like it's one of those things that heals like trauma, right? Like for me, it is, at least. Like I'm not making light of any situation.
Right.
Like Tina Fey is a person who's so brilliant at comedy, but like you're not making fun of Kimmy being trapped in a basement, but like, but she's trapped in the basement.
I mean, we could go further and further and further. But I just feel like, ugh, it's just so pervasive and it's just distasteful. Yes, that's really what it is. Yeah. We are not done with November. Let's see what else it brings, because literally celebrities, what a time. I felt like November said, I need to get some things off my chest. And we're hearing these things. So yeah, big up to pop culture. So let's do our icebreakers. Now, granted, listeners, as you know, I am speaking with Eric, who is my brother. I feel like some of these questions I would know, but no, because like that amazing speaker, I can't think of his name, but he said no child grows up in the same home. So I am doing this because I would love perspective, and yeah, I'm just super excited to record this episode. So if you were going to give us a short bio, like a story that was in an intro, like the pre-intros, like before the author writes the letter, before they do like the author's notes, before you start, what would be like a short bio of Eric Johnson?
Okay. I would say all around funny chameleon, right? That learned early on how to compartmentalize and utilize resources, everyone, right? And I would also say loved fashion, realized the power of presentation and appearance, and did that for a little while, and then grew up, and then like that was it.
Yeah. Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Icebreaker question number 1. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Question 1. What is something? It doesn't have to be one thing. It can be anything, but something important to you that you would want the world to know about you.
Okay. It would be that see me with or without medication. Just see me.
Okay. Okay. Fair. And definitely open. I appreciate that answer. See you.
Just see me.
Okay. Question 2. What did emotions look like in your home growing up?
It looks like a time and a place.
Very much. Yeah. Can you do can you go a little deeper into that?
I can go into it. It felt like your feelings are your feelings, right? Like, so you can hate something, you can be sad about something, you can be happy about something.
But there's a time and a place.
But we can't present it right now. Right? Like, because the world is watching, and it's like, but there's no cameras.
Oh my God, that's so true. Holy shit. I sometimes do that when I'm alone.
Same. It's something so it was embedded, and I now try to live out loud. Like I just try to. But I'm like, I find but it's hard to break, but yeah, that's what it was. It was like that. There is a time and a place, and I feel like it's so practical. Like it's so practical because it is like, no, your feelings are valid, but we can't tackle that right now. There's other things happening, and I feel like, okay, sure, I'll take it. Yeah,
right. So that's right. Yeah. Okay, I love that. It definitely I get it. I get it. I get it. Very clearly. Now, okay, so then if you could describe, because I've been trying and I know what mine would be. If you could describe your childhood, like growing up, in one word, what would it be?
Pressure cooker.
Okay. Mine was filtered.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Mm-hmm.
It always was.
Yeah.
It was always for me.
Very
Right?
much for you. Very much for you.
Right? Like some people got the real filtered.
Yeah.
Filtered. So yeah. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Final warm up. Are you ready?
I am.
It's the good one. What does joy look like to you?
It looks like internal peace,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, accepting acceptance
Mm-hmm.
of everything, of people, of myself, of my flaws and the good and the bad or whatever. Um, my partner, like my person,
Mm-hmm.
and and just like us navigating through like any storm,
Mm-hmm.
anything,
Mm-hmm.
the days really,
Mm-hmm.
and just still being able to be home anywhere.
That's dope. Well, thank you for sharing on the icebreakers. I feel like our listeners have definitely gotten a chance to get to know you better. So, heck yes. Okay. And I always ask this question. I've been adding it since watched the I'll Be Gone in the Dark, right? So, uh, for this week, or it could be for today, what was your rose and what was your thorn?
I know you always ask this question. I always ask myself this question because it's like, what was it? This week, it's probably like this is like the hardest time for me. This
Mm-hmm.
like the month, the
Oh my God,
thing,
holidays, believe.
holidays. And it literally is after Halloween until
Till
February.
January like 5th.
I won't even say that. February. For
February. True.
February.
Fair. Mm-hmm.
Like I I can't I combat it every moment, every
Mm-hmm.
second. Okay.
Such is life. I have actual timers on my alarms for my medication because and also I hate the brain zaps. So it's gotta be on
Yeah.
each day.
I'm telling you, it's a life that like I just never thought that I have to keep up with,
Mm-hmm.
but I do. I keep up with it because I know the version of me without it. And I love the version of me without it. That's the hardest. That is the hardest part of being Eric Johnson.
Mm.
Mm. Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
We could do
Yeah.
it. Oh, we're gonna dig into that on the baggage, but so what was your thorn? The holidays?
The thorn was, yeah, the thorn was knowing what it was like and what it's like now.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes.
That's the thorn. There's
What's
no
the
way to get around
rose?
it.
What's the
The
rose?
rose is navigating through it and
Mhm,
seeing like, I'm okay. I'm
mhm,
alive.
mhm,
I'm still happy. I'm still with people I love.
mhm,
I'm still good with me. I
mhm,
didn't do anything crazy, like,
mhm.
yeah, that's it. That's the rose. It's like, I went home, I went to bed. I woke
Yeah,
up with the man I love. Like,
yeah.
there it is. That's the rose.
Mhm. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I feel like my thorn, oh man, I have so many. My thorn was thinking that there was like, I don't know, a ceasefire on Wednesday and they pushed it back to Friday. That was my absolute thorn. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Um,
Capitalism. Yeah.
my rose, um, my rose was actually protesting today.
Yeah.
Just doing my part. I definitely feel like now viewing myself as like a global citizen and really digging into my advocacy, it feels like a calling. It feels like I cannot be removed. Like I cannot be swayed, and for all aspects of it. So that part, that awakening in me for just like this thirst for liberation for all, I feel like is definitely the rose. I also understand what the little prickly things are on the side called grief and weird and the holidays, because yes, it was actually, and I feel like this genocide, because that's what it is, has
What is it?
affected me so much. I mean, in a just like a large way, it's made me kind of like super raw to the point where, like you said, where you knew how holidays used to be, like how Thanksgiving used to be, and then where they were now. I had 2 Thanksgivings to attend. I had 2 dinners that I have great people that invited me to have this like community, and I could not celebrate yesterday. And it wasn't the grief aspect, right? For me, it was honestly like, well, what, we're celebrating another genocide? Like, let's be fucking for real. Okay. Pocahontas was a lie. So I realized for me that is a constant. It's a constant. It's almost like a gnawing thing. And even though, like, if I went today and had some leftovers, that would be fine. But I could just not, I couldn't do it yesterday.
You couldn't participate.
I couldn't participate. No.
Yeah. Listen, I couldn't participate.
Mm-hmm.
Until I felt like my boyfriend, like he was so shook to go into his situation. Because he is, coming into this person that he hasn't been in 5 years. And doing all the right things, right? But just so fearful of judgment.
Yeah.
And as a partner, I want to be there for him, but I was like, I can't be around a family dynamic because I feel so like anytime I see it around this time, it brings on this thing that, like, when I tell you it's the fight that I fight. Like, you talking about the hardest fights, it's like it's that internal stuff that I couldn't do it. And I was like, I just can't do it for you. So you're gonna have to put on those pants and go in there alone. Text me, and then I got into my comfortable place, and then I went to my Friendsgiving thing. But yeah.
Yeah. It was almost like I had a previous episode with Janelle, and she was like, and I think about it too, because I knew then, and part of me thinks like, maybe you didn't, but no, I knew then. I knew how good we had it.
Yeah,
I
did.
And especially during this time of year. And so it's definitely a change. I feel like a little more hardened from it. Not necessarily hardened. I'm just as soft. It's just I view it so differently. And where my headspace is currently with like the current state of the world, like I could not celebrate. I could not. And so that was also kind of a rose and thorn too, because honestly, it felt more like a thorn or more like a rose, because just seeing people being like, not today, not today. It's not business as usual was inspiring, and I loved it. So yeah.
Well, I will say, because of you, I haven't protested. You started talking about this probably a while ago, and I heard it, and I was like, okay, let me just see what's happening. I don't really know a lot, but I do know when I see something wrong, right? It was enough for me to go and investigate. And after the investigation, I have been like, okay, maybe a lot of people are like me, like just going, you have so much going on, right? Like in your world that you're like, I don't know what's happening outside the world, And then when you open your eyes and you get out of self, because I feel like, at least for me, I'm very self, like, my world is like my world, And sometimes it takes a moment or someone like you to just be like, hey, there's a genocide happening. And you're like, oh my God, there's a genocide happening. And then I wake up and I'm like, and also I work in like human services. So like, I'm like, I'm trying to get homeless people houses, So it's like, there's so many fires. But I was able to, everywhere I went, and I told everyone about the Black Fridays. I was like, what we're not doing, this is what we're not doing. And then I was like having to explain it to people. And they were like, so wait, what's happening? And it's like, oh my gosh, like I was like, I'm so happy that I'm able to at least pass the torch, because that at least is something When you
Spark
don't
it
know,
in
you
you
don't
to
know.
where you might open that Safari on the iPhone and take a look, take a little
When you
peek.
don't know, you don't know, you know?
And
Yeah.
when you do know and you're still,
It's hard to unknow.
it's been 16 years, you know? So I think that if you don't know, like no one is shaming you, okay? No one's shaming you for not knowing. I'm just throwing this out there as like a PSA. No one's shaming you for not knowing, okay? But ignorance in this situation is not bliss. It's just not giving a shit, okay?
Yeah.
It's just that. We're on day 47. It's not giving a shit. And if you want to be that person, just say that. But please don't pretend. Please don't pretend.
Like my dude said, stand on all 10 toes.
Stand 10 toes down, because I'm standing on business over here.
10 toes down. Yeah.
Yes. But yes, thank you so much for doing that. We're going to take a super quick break and then we will get started on the episode. What are we talking about today? What's our topic today? What's the baggage?
Okay, so I have struggled with grief and loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like so many things like kept happening. Like and not just they didn't happen to me, but it felt like that for a long time. For a long time. It took therapy to realize that it didn't happen to me. Like
right.
no one's out there just like pointing at Eric and being like, get him. But
a plague on both your houses. Like that.
Literally, it felt like that for the longest time. The things that help me get through it, right? They're the littlest things, but like I felt okay because I went through this whole why me, why now? And then I was like, oh, there's a lesson. And then I started questioning, God, and I started questioning everything. And then
which is okay to question.
It's fine to question. It's fine to question. It's really just like, what's the answer that you're seeking though?
Right.
What is that?
Right.
Because once you get it, are you going to be satisfied? And for me, like I did the books and I did the therapy, and the therapy was amazing and still amazing. But I also had to because I used to be very heavy into drug use and self-medicating and wilding out, like using sex as a coping mechanism, using gambling as a so I was just like, okay, well, I'm trying these things, the right way or what's being told in the books, you know what I mean? And they are not they feel like they're not working, are working fast enough, or I don't feel like a change. I don't. And what I realized is that it's always going to be there. It's the acceptance of it. It's the acceptance of it. So I call mine the astronaut, right?
Okay.
Okay, right? So
okay. Give us a picture. Help us understand the astronaut.
I'm gonna help okay, because it does sound weird, but
it doesn't. I always wanted to be an astronaut growing up, but it wasn't gonna happen.
He's here right now, just as big as can be, 6 foot, big silver astronaut, NASA, gear, the whole helmet thing, just chilling, just hanging out, and has been here since forever, right? But really showed himself, really spoke to me, really was like, hey, guy, I'm here. When my mom passed away and then when Ken passed away.
Yeah.
Like a double hitter, right?
Yes, it was.
So so then I was just left with the astronaut. But no one else could see the astronaut. And that's literally how I look at my grief and my losses and my sadness and there are a couple of things that will make the astronaut kind of dissipate, and that will be the healthy medication that I take, the good stuff, because I'm bipolar 1, I'm super bipolar.
Yes,
I have to manage it, or it will manage me.
Right.
And those are two different humans. you're going to meet Eric.
I've met them.
You've met them. You've experienced it.
I have.
And I will say, I am sorry about experience. It really is like, because you don't know which end you're going to get. And that's the worst part about it, right? Like, although I may be feeling amazing. Like, I feel like I am on top of the world, and don't realize I am shitting on every single person in my world, and that is that's bipolar, you know.
Your brain, you're unique. That's what you are, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone's different. Everyone has but accepting that, like, no, wait,
I can be better.
I can be better. Like it can be better. Like I can actually. And then I used to have, and I don't know if you ever did, but like I'm actually still fighting it, but it's not as bad. And actually I can say that past tense. I used to have like a real kind of like shame factor on being medicated, that like I needed to be like a functional human being. You have to take medication, right? Like you get these super lulls and then high intense anxiety to where it actually turns to obsessive compulsive, right? Like you have to, honestly, it runs in the family. Our family was unique. That's what you are. Okay. So, but I used to have big shame around that. And that's been like one of the things I've worked through. It could be baggage for another episode, or I've already talked about it, which I had to like change my viewpoint. No, bitch, diabetics need insulin. Honey, you need your meds to be like functional. You know what I mean? Like it's not even to be functional in a capitalistic way. It's literally for you to walk with ease and walk in peace and have joy without just fucking it up.
That's it. That's literally, I don't know if there's ever been like, a show, or like I never saw anything to really explain other than Kanye West. And you know, like that's my heart.
I know.
That's my heart. And anybody who tries him, I'm coming.
I told you I agreed. We're just taking a little pause right now.
Yeah.
You know, and that's okay.
As you should. Other than Kanye, I've never seen anyone who looked like me and felt like me and sounded, and like you can hear it in his music, you can hear it in his head. And like sometimes you're just like, oh my God, you've gone to the deep, the good stuff. And then like all of a sudden you're just over here.
Slavery was a choice.
Slavery was a choice.
Right. You know? You're over there.
And then you're like, yeah. So I never saw it other than Kanye, but there was no rule book to it. There's not a shame in the medication. It's getting the medication correct. That's the hard part, right? And then also like fighting the urge to not being on it, because not being on it, that's a high.
Right. Okay. Fair.
That's
fair.
It is. It's hard, because it's like when I want to escape, girl, just don't take your meds. You know what I mean? Don't take them. Like run. You know. So
part of me always wonders, like, as like I'm sorry to interrupt you, as like a person that I am on regular like medication. I don't know if right now it is like a regimen for my life, and it functions right. And part of me thinks, like, do you ever get this idea, like, is it really me though? Like, is this really me? Or is me kind of just going obsessive compulsive, just fucking losing it? And also like forgetting everything, going backwards, always late, just like ADHD, like the imposter syndrome, like the high anxiety, the iceberg, right? Because everyone thinks, you can't focus, be still. Y'all have no idea. Let's go below, right? Is that me? Do you ever like...
So here's the thing. I know them both, and I respect them both. Like, not medicated me. Yeah, it's not for a lot of people. It's not great. You know, you're dealing with a manipulative, charismatic, fashion, amazing fashions,
Amazing.
honestly,
Mm-hmm.
amazing fashions. Um, but this person that like I can fill a room with
Mm-hmm.
like just like my stuff, like just
Mm-hmm.
like, hey guys, let's do it.
There's no from personal experience, like there's no space for you there.
Yeah.
There's just no space for anyone else there. I think.
Ever. It's like having a superpower, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just like I'm sorry, I'm the one with the magic, but I'm the one with the magic, And
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, and then there's the medicated version, right? Like when
Mm-hmm.
I feel like truly connected to me, like
Mm-hmm.
that version of me, and
Which
that's
still has magic, right?
no, it's still the same, but
Mm-hmm.
it don't feel the same,
Mm-hmm.
There's like electricity without it, without
Mm-hmm.
medication.
Mm-hmm.
With medication, it's just I'm here without
Mm-hmm.
without the electricity. So
Mm.
it's weird.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. I mean, so in going through that process,
Yes.
keep leading us to the bags because these are the bags, aren't they?
These are the bags. These are the things that come with it. But so like
And also align it to Britney because
oh,
we've got to,
if we're gonna bring
because
it, yeah.
I also want to say that I want to bring it back to Britney because I do feel like you guys have been like us all, but honestly, especially with being your sibling and seeing like when Britney Spears came and like how there has just been like a connection and like a closeness and like it's like
Uh-huh.
we see each other kind of thing.
It's one of those things. It's how you feel about Beyonce. I respect and love Beyonce,
Mm-hmm.
especially the last three albums. We
Mm-hmm.
can't even get into like it, but like, ma'am, you have become a woman in my eyes, and I just
Mm-hmm.
want to say I see you, I love you, I respect you.
Mm-hmm.
You're a showstopper. Britney was like that from jump. From jump.
Okay, well, Beyonce was that, but you know what? Let's not
You
get
know what I
into
mean?
it.
Like for me though, like I mean, I just
Yes,
saw her and
I remember you sang in the choir, and you
yeah,
had a gospel voice,
yeah.
and it changed to Britney.
Oh, very airy. And like, I'm up here now. I'm just doing
There
that.
it is. There it is.
Just doing that.
Don't let me be the last to know.
Yeah. The airy girls, there's
Mm-hmm.
a few of them. Janet's one of them. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it, it was, it was like I was seeing myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Being like, if you were in this situation, this is what it would look like. This
Mm-hmm.
is exactly what it would look like. Like if you woke up and you were
You're a
from
white girl
white
from
girl,
Louisiana with
Louisiana,
blonde hair.
blonde hair, this is you. And and I was like, yeah, girl, that makes sense. Um and the music and like she just gosh, she got me through like the gay stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She got me
Mm-hmm.
through it. And she was like, without even saying it's okay to be gay, she was just like, no, you can just follow me. It's fine. you know,
So true.
just follow me. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I, so yeah, I, the memoir tells us everything. It tells us everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she also doesn't really go into depths about like any type of um um diagnosis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's some things there though, there's some things.
Yes.
There's some
Yeah.
things there. But enough that she could manage it herself. Lord knows if I can do it, this girl can do it. So like so when reading the book, like when you're going through her life, you're like, oh my gosh, you always had to put on a show. And I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I get
There's
it.
always a time and a place.
There's a time and a place.
Mm-hmm.
And like sometimes you just smile and you're like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
Um and and so I identify with her on that level. Like as far as like she experiences grief and loss like totally differently, right? Because she doesn't have anyone else. She just and sometimes it feels like that. Like it's like all I've got is me.
Oh my God, yes. I feel
All I've
that all
got
the
is
time.
all I've got is me. So you have to get through this,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't want to get through this.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's like, okay, what I love about Britney though is that like not only will you will never know that this is what's going on, she's still going to give you the show that you asked for, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and she is still going to recognize that at some point I am going to have to speak up for myself. I don't know when it's going to be, but that's how I was. That's who I was. That's kind of the thing that I've been through. I relied a lot on, others' opinions and validations and things like that for a long time. And my new normal, right? So my new
Mm-hmm.
normal, I don't need that. I
Right.
don't need you to
I'm
say,
good.
yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And like if I'm not good, I'll know I'm not good and I'll say it to myself. you know?
Right.
I don't need the additional, you
Right.
know.
Do you feel like sometimes it's nice though? Like if you do kind of like a good thing or like it is a time to be celebrated, do you feel like because sometimes I definitely do this. Do you feel like because you're like, I just got to handle it and I know I can handle it and I am validating myself because I finally learned to do that, right? That you're like sometimes like I don't know, you kind of lie to yourself and and on terms that you kind of really do want validation. It's not necessarily need, but want validation. Are you able to like accept it?
whew, um, I'm able to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so rare, right? Like I'm able to accept it, but it's so rare that it's mentioned that it's like it's when it is, it's so overwhelming. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like thank you for seeing me. Like
Mm-hmm.
and it's I'll tell you, I had an appointment with a new psychiatrist
Mm-hmm.
um and I was going in just like because I started having panic attacks again
Mm-hmm.
and I was like just like I didn't want to mention all my stuff. I just didn't want to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, girl, like let's just get through this. So like
Mm-hmm.
you prescribe it and I leave,
Mm-hmm.
and she stopped me and she just said like the little things that like that you've hit like certain milestones in your
Mm-hmm.
own self,
Right.
and you did it and like you were like, yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? You're like
Mm-hmm.
through it. But when she said it, and this was a stranger,
Mm-hmm.
like I broke down. I broke
Mm-hmm.
down. Literally, because I don't think, because I still do that, present well, but like there's a time and a place.
Right.
I still do that so much
My
so that
therapist calls me a super masker for a reason, baby. I can put it on.
I listen, you'll never know. You'll never know.
You'll never
How would they
know.
know? How would they know? Yeah, she just and I when I heard the word, she said, you're doing a lot
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing it and you're getting it done and you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it well.
Mm-hmm.
And I cried. It was
Mm-hmm.
just like that. She was like, you're almost like I'm 7 classes away from graduating, right?
That's fantastic. That's
Like
fantastic.
fantastic.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Fantastic.
like, and I've been working at the same time, and
Mm-hmm.
like, and I've had like the boyfriends and the men's, and like, I've had a lot going on,
Things are lining up, right? Like it's
Yeah,
like you've been showing up and now it's showing up.
showing up, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, and for so long, I would just need like, celebrate it, you know what I mean? But like, I never actually did it internally. And like
Mm-hmm.
now that I do it internally, like when someone mentions it, and it's almost like it was like, thank you. It was like a thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a thank you. And it just hit me. And she was
Mm-hmm.
like, she was like, it's okay. But yeah, I mean, I haven't cried like that in a minute, but it felt good. It was like, yeah, it was healthy.
I love that. Well, I'm happy for you and good job and congrats on 7 courses left and stay the
Yeah,
course. It's real cute. It's real
she's
cute.
cute. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real cute. For the listeners, you've heard me say this before. Your sibling is your first friend, right? And being a witness and more recently, which has been so incredibly, I don't want to say like validating, but validating for me personally, only because I literally feel like in the past like year, like I actually have to like teach myself, no, you've got to walk alone. And
Yeah.
now you can strut alone, right? Like serve a look, serve a walk, serve a catwalk, right?
Yeah.
But in viewing this, I feel like it's an incredible thing to see. And I feel like for us, I really do think we really needed like a separation in a way, because I felt like for so long it was like the Three Musketeers, and for that to change and the dynamics to change, it was really intense and a lot. But in getting through this, right, and where you are now, right, because we're about to have found love in a hopeless place. And when I say hopeless place, I said Florida. No,
she's not wrong. She's not wrong. Not wrong. She's not wrong.
What are some of the tools, right? Like, how did you get, because I feel like I've kind of explained how I kind of got from point A to point B to point C. I don't even know. I feel like I'm still kind of living it. It feels like, so what would you say some of the tools that you've used, or like growth? Because I do feel, in the words of RuPaul, like if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? So I feel like in this transition of grief and acceptance and kind of an understanding, and I feel a grace that you have to give to yourself, a grace that I don't think we were ever raised to give anyone, and definitely not ourselves. It was, if you're not going to do it right the first time, why even bother doing it? It's helped. It made us thrive. But it was a little crippling, right?
Yeah, because it's like, I'm never gonna get it on the first try, my guy. Like, come on.
Right. At all times, I was like totally expected to get it on the first try. Every single time. So I feel like that leads to a lot of self-doubt, for me, it made me become a gold star person. So I'm a person that I give myself gold stars and I expect gold stars. Like it's misinformation. It's fake news that if I follow all of these things and I do things this certain way and at this certain time and in this certain order and perfectly, by the way, that I'm just gold stars everywhere, gold stars. But really it's leading to, who the fuck are you? Whose life are you living? And why do you feel like, even if someone sees you in first place, that you are in last place all the time? Like for me personally, like I'm seeing myself, for a long time, I was like, I'm not seeing myself as a winner. Like I can fake like I'm seeing myself as a winner, but like I didn't actually ever see myself as like a person that was like winning or doing well, or I didn't. Right. So what were the tools that led you to understanding, no, I'm all right. I'm a person. I'm a smart person. I can do this. I'm capable.
Okay. So the tools that got me to the place. Okay. Finding the thing that will totally change your entire mood. Like your mindset, some people do it with meditation, some people do it with prayer, some people do it with food, some people, there's a thing that really can just be like, all I need is just to see it or feel it or see it or hear it or whatever, and it can just snap me out of it. For me, that's like musicals. So I will go into and I will seek and I will look for and I will just and when I'll hear it, it'll be like a thing and I'll be like,
Mhm.
ah, and I can just and anytime I hear that song or like I have something reference to it or anything like that, it puts me in a place of zen that is like, okay,
Mhm.
and that gives me the space and the time for my thoughts to like come down. Not everything is catastrophic. Not
Right.
everything's the end of the world.
Right.
Um, and this is not happening to you. It's
Right.
just happening.
I have to remind myself, like, it's just not that serious.
It's
It's
not.
not that serious. Take a breath.
Just chill
Take
out.
a breath. You know what? I'm saying it. I say it on most podcasts. I'm blaming the J Dubs on that one. And I know that you may not be like, I don't know how much into it I was, but you knew about an Armageddon and you had to stay on ready. And I mean, and that's why I feel like I catastrophize like everything because it's the
Everything.
end. It's the end
No, it
times.
does feel
It's
like
the
that.
end,
It
right?
feels like that. It feels like I'll like even today, I've been very good about managing like school and
Mm-hmm.
like work, ugh,
Relationship, dog,
relationship,
life.
dog, life, bills, things,
Mm-hmm.
and I am, all these things. I'm still able to like to manage them. But if one little, you know,
It's over.
maybe you shouldn't have bought the extra boot. Like maybe
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't have gone to the dinner. Like maybe all it takes is one little thing. Because for me right now, it's fiscally, it's
Mm-hmm.
financial. It's just financial. Super happy and like
Mm-hmm.
my life and where I'm. But financially, like I just feel there's not enough. Even with the side hustle, it's just
Mm-hmm.
not enough. And I think
It's
it's the
not
city.
enough.
It's just like the city I live in, and it's like all the things.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the necessary things that I need,
Mm-hmm.
the necessities.
I gotta
I
get
do
it,
it.
gotta make it through.
I see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's the takeaway. Like it's like it was dark for a while. Now I'm like seeing the light, and they're telling me the things, and yeah. So the tools. So
Mm-hmm.
the tools are whatever can bring you inner peace fast. Like, for me, also being medically compliant. Just
Mm-hmm.
just tell Alexa to tell you when to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Speak up for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good about helping someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like that's my whole thing. I'm in human services, like in social work. That's like the thing. I like to speak up for the person that like didn't know how to speak up because that has been like the one thing, right, that I've always been good at about doing is saying, like saying it out loud. And like I will put you there. I will make
Mm-hmm.
you see what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a thing that I've always done, and like I hate when people are pushed aside, like they just don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So
Listen, you're on the side of liberation. I think it's in the genes.
it's like there's something about yeah. I advocate. I have to. If I see it, I have to say it. I will. It will stay with me forever if I don't. If I don't. So I'm very much so like that. So I speak up for myself because I never used to do that for myself. I would just, help everyone else. But like when I'm saying like, no, you hurt me and I feel sad. Like it's like, okay, cool. Or
Mm-hmm.
like, what's going how you feeling today? And I'll respond with, it feels heavy.
Instead of fine, I'm good.
Yeah. Like I'll be like, it feels like, a little heavy today. Like
You're like it's like the freedom of putting reality, like your feelings, your reality over someone else's comfort because you don't have to all the time, especially if it's a safe space. Like you can do
it's
it,
just like sometimes it's just like, and I've gotten to an age and a place to where it's like, I know what hurts me now. And not doing that,
Mm-hmm.
pushing that down
Mm-hmm.
will only it,
Repress it. It makes it
yeah,
worse.
it makes it worse. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to feel like that. So
Mm-hmm.
that is another thing that I do. And I don't have expectations. And that
Mm-hmm.
sounds
No, I get it. I get it.
it sounds like, well, then what, but it brought me to, because when and the only other person that I've heard this from, right,
Mm-hmm.
is a Khloe Kardashian. So, but I get her.
Mm-hmm.
Said they asked her just a question, and she just responded with like, I had to like let go of my expectations,
Mm-hmm.
because every time I got something and I thought it was going to be another thing and it was going to bring on this other thing, fell flat on my face, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was just so true. Like I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this job or this dude or this, this look or, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So I let go of them. I
Yeah.
let go of them. And when I let go of them, I had control again.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, it feels like now nothing's capable of hurting me.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the tools that I use.
Hey, listeners, I hope you enjoyed part 1 of our episode with my guest and my brother, Eric Johnson. Please stay tuned for part 2 when we explore finding love in a hopeless place and all the baggage that comes with it, as well as deciding what souvenirs we're going to keep and what baggage we're going to check in. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, Check In Your Baggage, and check out my website, checkinyourbags.com. I like to end with saying everyone has baggage. It looks different. And the gift of the day is we get to choose what we carry. Until next time, enjoy your day and call for a ceasefire. Bye, you guys.